Down a darkened drive, you'll find their candlelight. From a widow's peak, you'll see it burning bright. Through the double doors into their dusty tomb, you'll feel eyes from paintings follow room to room. On the creaky stairs, you may think twice, as you tell yourself those bangs are mice. In the upstairs hall, you'll see shadows dance. There's a light from the candle, this is your only chance. You run and you cry as you curse this dark night, only to find at the end there's no candlelight. Instead, there's some headphones you put on full of fear. When suddenly it's every nightmare rolled into one that you hear. And it says, "Welcome to the Paranormal Sideshow with your host, John and Stacey Edwards of ParanormalSideshow.com. Hello and welcome to the Paranormal Sideshow. I'm your host, John Edwards, and joined as always by my lovely wife, Stacey.
Hello.
And we're back.
We are.
We're back.
And somewhat healthy.
Yes, we're somewhat healthy. We're getting there. Wow. What a long, strange trip it was.
It was.
It was weird. It was long. But the good thing, we did the little update. Mm-hmm. So the good thing is everybody's home, everybody's safe. I've been doing a lot of catching up. Mm-hmm. Whole lot of catching up. Hashtag Bruce Wayne job. It has been a nightmare, but I'm getting there. It's getting good.
You'll get there.
You know what, though? The thing is, I worked the whole time. Mm-hmm. I really tried to keep up with everything, but I didn't. I still had some stuff I got behind on and just visits and stuff. Mm-hmm. So that's just, I'm a perfectionist when it comes to that crap. So the good thing is, though, we've got good things going. There's some good karma. There's some good mojo going. We got the incense lit in here. We got some like Susanna Hoffs studio stuff going. That's a little personal inside thing.
I'm sure there'll be some bay leaves burning.
Yes.
Very soon.
I love the burn bay leaves.
Mm-hmm.
That's funny, isn't it?
That's funny.
Okay, so in our absence, we actually did a show, as we talked about on that little short thing, if you listen to it, Spaced Out Radio.
Yes.
And it was flipping awesome.
It was so much fun.
It's a great show.
Yes.
If you don't listen to Spaced Out Radio, you really should. It's a cool show. They're all over the place. Like, you can find them on podcast if you look them up like you do us, or if they've got terrestrial radio stations. So, I mean, they're on like in a bunch of markets. You can listen to them all over the bleeding place.
Yeah, you can just go to spacedoutradio.com and you can listen there. You can find where all the links are.
That's the easiest way. Yeah, Dave Scott is the host name, and he's a killer dude. You know why? Because he's a wrestling fan.
He is a wrestling fan.
He is a wrestling fan. So if anything you ever wanted to know about John and Stacey, but you were afraid to ask, it's on that actual interview. In fact, there is a few things on that interview that I never talked about on the podcast. So you'll have to listen through it. It's I mean, there's stuff on there that I may have mentioned on one of the podcasts.
Right.
But this was a cool place. It was all centered around cool stuff, good stuff. So that happened. Then WrestleMania weekend happened, which is always a big event for us, So we were trying to come back from up there and come back to our homeland. And, and I got bored on the trip. So I bought like every event I could to watch. And it was good stuff, like 40 events. And aside from that, we are setting up some stuff for the rest of the year to try to do some appearances, some cool little things paranormal wise, where John and Stacey, that's us, will be there to meet you and greet you and all that stuff. Already done one meet and greet at a wrestling event. Went very well. Had a lot of fun doing that, but Stacey wasn't there. So funny thing was, Raja was there, and some nice person came up to get an autograph. And get to buy a book, get an autograph, and this is a great story. Okay, so Stacey looks a lot like Raja, or I should say, Raja looks a lot like Stacey. Okay, so I'm sitting there with Raja, and this person comes up, and I'm used to signing autographs from wrestling and stuff for years, and so anyway, I'm sitting there, and it's just like, okay, what do you want to make it out to? And the dude totally sizing Raja up, right? But he's thinking he's sizing Stacey up. And he's just like, well, you can sign it too. And Raja just straight up, she's like, I'm not in that book. And it was like, she doesn't mean to be rude, but she has this automatic defense mechanism. And it was so funny because there's something like, it's not me or something. I think she said I had nothing to do with it. That's what she said.
Yeah.
I had nothing to do with it. And like kind of stands up and stands back. I bet that dude's like, wow.
He must think I'm a terrible person.
Yeah. Everybody's like, Stacey's a bitch. But no, funny stuff. It's just a little funny story there. Mm-hmm. But, we're going to have some big events that we're looking at and that we're going to be doing. One in particular that we're going to be doing that we haven't officially signed on yet, but we're also looking to try to get some lectures out there. So if you are a person who is over that for any of these places, any of these cons, let us know, get a hold of us. It's a guaranteed John and Stacey visit if it's also with the lecture, because we like the lecture,
I don't think anybody's going to believe that we like to talk.
Yeah, right?
I mean, we hate it.
Actually, Stacey's not going to talk. I'm going to have her standing there and like holding cards or something. And
am I going to be your Vanna White?
No. I'm thinking instead, like everybody does PowerPoint.
Right.
I was thinking of getting like all the pictures of what I'm talking about and have you hold them.
Forget the easel.
Yeah.
I'll just have Stacey hold them.
No, you just hold them and make the sounds. Like if I need you, like if I'm talking about a Bigfoot that we seen, you hold the picture up and go behind the picture, and people will love it. It'll be really funny for them. And if like if I talk about the UFO story, you go.
I don't think I like this idea.
Okay.
I think we're gonna have to work on our lecture a little.
All right. How about we do the lecture in the buff?
No, I don't. I get cold too easily.
I mean, that's what we're hoping for. But I mean, I hope it's not too cold in there. Oh, wow.
Didn't somebody already try the naked ghost hunting thing?
They did, but this is naked ghost hunting lectures.
Oh, it's different.
Well, I mean, people always fall asleep. They wouldn't fall asleep if we were doing that. Right?
Maybe. I don't know.
And the parts we really want them to know, we could like hashtag mommy daddy time.
Yeah, no. I'm just nixing this idea right now.
Do you remember that? This is in a Monty Python movie. He brought them. They had the English class going on, and and he was teaching them their lessons. Okay, never mind. There's been so much stuff happen since we had to go on the little hiatus. There's been a lot of stuff happen. I mean, in the world,
right?
A lot of weird news, a lot of craziness.
Yes,
it kills us too, because it's always something insane. Like when we can't do a show. It's always something like, I don't know, the first black hole ever taken a picture of.
Well, I felt a little better because we do have the newsletter, and I have been sending the newsletter out every week, even though we haven't been able to do the show.
How it is. I get the picture. So here's the deal, people. So Stacey is 100% the newsletter. Okay, we have contributors of the family that are giving things in there. I've only done one thing on it, and they haven't asked me again, by the way. So I'm just saying.
I don't need to ask. You just contribute when you want to.
Yeah. So I did the first one. So the newsletter is like the baby of Stacey. So please do me a favor, all right? Because when mom is happy, we all happy, all right? So will you please go and subscribe to the newsletter? Listen, I don't care what you do with it, all right? But just subscribe to it. And if you are into the show, all right, no matter what you're into the show for, if you're into the show because you've got your own show and you like to steal our news, if you're into the show because you really can't find that news anywhere else and you love to hear the news, if you're into our show because of us, if you're into our show because of Stacey, those are all things that are boxes that are checked here. All right. So every newsletter, she goes in depth with some stories, and there's all kinds of little. Why don't you sell it yourself?
Well, I basically put stories in there, news stories, some of the ones that we do on the podcast, but I try to include some that we don't talk about because they're not stories that are easy to talk about on a podcast. Like maybe it's a video, or maybe it's something very long and involved you have to read, or it's just an opinion piece or something like
Somebody
that.
Being diddled.
No, I don't put any of that in there. So I try to include at least 10 stories of different varying types. I try to put interesting videos in there. When we have different sections, like I do a haunting sometimes and describe a haunting. Raja contributes tarot card readings and moon phases, and she's been writing some fiction that has been in there. Even Ariana has included her own. She did a top 10 list, and she did a review of like some scary stories that she had read.
And Cody does
the horror movie review.
Right.
And he's been giving me one of those every week almost. So there's always something a little different. I try to change it up every week. And if you don't already subscribe, you can go to the website and do it, or we put a link up for it on Facebook and Twitter. So if you're following us there, you'll get the link every time, or if you want to subscribe, it'll come straight to your email.
So it's a labor of love, and it's something else fun that we do, and it's a good way to get some cool stories. So when you're supposed to be working, it's a great thing to look at while you're supposed to be at work.
Yes, and there is a link on there that if you have your own story that you want to contribute, then absolutely send that to me.
We're looking for that. So if you want to write something, even something recurring, okay? If you got an idea, if you want to do psychic readings, if you want to, whatever you want to do.
Yeah, astrology,
numerology, something cool like that.
Fiction, even art, anything.
Yeah, anything you want to do. You want to draw pictures, cool little paranormal pictures, whatever. You'll get full obvious. We'll put you over because we're put over kind of people. But yeah, just get a hold of us and send us the stuff. Where would they send it if they want to?
Just send it.
Say they're an introvert and they don't want to freaking talk to you.
That's fine. Just send it to paranormalsideshow@gmail.com. Just put a little subject on there that it's for the newsletter. And then just send me whatever you got. You can send attachments. You can put it right in the email. Whatever you want to do. Personal experiences. I don't care. Anything that you want to add to the newsletter. And I will add a section for, listener contributions. And we'll put it in there.
Now, there is a risk of it being edited. I will say that. So if you send us a book, I don't know. We'll try to use it. Maybe Stacey will just converse with you at that point,
Yes.
We'll always try to use it. But this is, something for us, but it's also about all of us, right? And it's about you guys because you're part of us, just like it's always been. Something else, all these paranormal shows that have been like flooding the market, right? Did you see that Jason and all the guys from Ghost Hunters have a new one?
Yes, I think it's Jason and
Steve and Tango. Yeah, Ghost Nation. So they're coming to Travel Channel too. It's weird having them on Travel Channel with Zach and them.
Yeah,
but
with everybody.
With everybody, right? Lots of new shows. Some people are negative about that. I'm not so negative about that. I mean, for certain reasons. I think it's great that there's new shows popping up everywhere.
I mean, one of them's bound to be a keeper, right?
I'm sure one of them will be very original.
Probably.
Something probably not yet that'll be coming out. I bet you it'll be great. I bet you it'll have like this hunky dude and this witchy cool chick and like a lot of cool originality to it. I bet.
You never know.
You never know.
Tons of stuff coming out.
Yeah, you never know, right? So speaking of stuff that's already out, the book.
Yes.
I always have to call it the book.
The book.
Till Death and Beyond.
What happens when we write our second book?
It'll be the new book.
The first book?
No, it'll be the new book and the old book. Till Death and Beyond.
We're going to do it like we do our houses. Like we're just going to have the old book and then the old book.
Oh,
and
we
then
still do that.
Old book.
Yeah, for years we were like the old house and the old house. The old house. Seriously, people, we do that. Now we've lived in so many places that we have to name them by the city. Because
it's too many olds.
Yeah.
You lose count.
It's so weird now. We have to be like, the Tennessee house or whatever. Till Death and Beyond, the haunted journey of John and Stacey Edwards. You can purchase this little bad boy a couple of ways. You can go on paranormalsideshow.com and you can purchase one and we'll sign it and we'll send it to you. Or we won't sign it. It's up to you. If you choose not to have me sign it, I'm going to somewhere secretly put a little thing in there. Like I'm going to put a little J somewhere because I refuse to send one out without a signature. Then the other way is going to Amazon.com. Amazon.com.
Right.
And you can go there and look up Till Death and Beyond and we're going to pop right up. And you can buy that bad boy on there for $14.99 and get it on its way to you, and you're gonna love it, absolutely. And then don't let your neighbors borrow it. Tell them they need to buy one,
and then go back and leave us a review.
please leave us a review.
Yes.
Please, just leave us a review, a good review, like a good 5-star review. It is 5 stars, right?
It is.
Okay. 5 stars, everybody. You got to do it. All right. So I was talking about paranormalsideshow.com. We were talking about the newsletter. Hopefully you guys go check out the newsletter. You check out paranormalsideshow.com. That has links to all this monkey business. Facebook.com/paranormalsideshow. Go on there and give us a like so I can quit paying for that. You know, I'm trying to target people. So at Sideshow97 on Twitter, that's an interesting place. I think you'll have a lot of fun there because you never know what we're going to tweet. John and Stacey Edwards on Instagram. You see more of the Family Jam there. YouTube.com/Paranormal Sideshow. You can go watch our old documentaries. You can honestly watch the vlog that's going to be coming back soon. We're going to start doing the vlog again in probably a month or so. So we did a lot of the Till Death vlogs, and I think you're going to really like it. I mean, we put a lot of effort into it. It's very funny, and if I do say so myself. But the ones are on there now, plus the old documentaries are on there, and Stacey also uploads each week's podcast on there, just so everybody has, I'm looking at you, has a way to listen to the show. We try to put it as many places as we can. We actually found a few new places. And, you know, also, if you know some other places you would like us to have it because you have to go out of your comfort zone to listen, let us know what that is so we can also take care of that. Some of the places you can listen to and download the podcast: iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify, all that good stuff. And with that said, also patreon.com. Okay. That's what wraps it all up. Patreon.com/Paranormal Sideshow. All right. So the best way to help us and, you know, help the show, make sure that we keep everything going with the show, improve the equipment, all that good stuff, right, is we do all this ourselves. So Paranormal Sideshow on patreon.com, patreon.com/Paranormal Sideshow. Speaking of patrons, which thank each and every one of you.
Yes.
I mean, from the bottom of my heart, everything you guys do helps and helps tremendously. Helps keep, you know, Stacey off drugs and everything we need to do. I want to give a little shout out.
Oh, we have a shout out.
Yeah, you know what? I always do the shout outs. I want you to do a shout out.
Am I doing the
because
shout out
this is the coolest last name of any patron we've had. No offense to the other patrons, but this, when you hear this last name, go ahead.
Oh, I thought you were...
No, I was going to let you do the shout out.
I know. I didn't know you ended your sentence there. All right. So our newest patron, Amber Cascanet.
Come on. You got to give it more than that. It's like our newest patron.
I'm not as theatrical as
hailing
you.
from parts unknown. Weighing in at a girlish weight. Amber Cascanet.
That's probably the best shout out we've given. Right there.
Maybe it's Cascanetti. I bet we got it right the first time. We always get it right the first time.
I think we had it right the first time.
Always.
So do you know that we had someone comment on Facebook about the story we did from Washington, Spokane? And they were surprised that we pronounced it correctly.
Yeah, I commented back on that because that's when I stopped you and made you go back.
Well, I commented that too. I said, you can thank John for that.
Yeah,
because
but you
totally
didn't say the details. You didn't say the details. I put the details on there.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I went back behind you because I was like, that dirty girl.
Because, I gave you the credit. Okay, I gave you the credit.
So Stacey over here was doing the story, and how was it? Spokane.
Yeah, Spokane. That's how I've always said it. A lot of people say it that way.
No, they don't. No, a lot of people wrongly say it that way.
Well, that's what I mean.
Oh.
They were commenting that they were very surprised we got it right.
So listen, if you're me and you have your life taken over by grunge, okay,
right,
and you absolutely fall in love with everything Seattle, you know how to pronounce Spokane. It's just one of those things.
Gotcha.
I freaking know the roads around there just because of all that love. So
that's funny. Well, I felt better after I saw that because when you corrected me, you made it sound like everybody in the world knew and I was the only one saying it wrong. But obviously that's not the case.
No, baby. I was just playing with you.
I know.
That's how I play.
I just edited all that out anyway.
I know.
And so it just sounded like I did it right to begin with.
And speaking of doing it right, it's time for Stacey Edwards and Paranormal News. She's the GOAT of Paranormal News, traveling the globe to find you the stories you didn't know you needed to hear. and the story she knows you'll never forget. It's time for Stacey Edwards and Paranormal News.
All right, so let's get to the news.
Let's. That's right.
Yes.
Yeah. Sorry, she first take said something else. Sometimes Stacey throws me off and adds a word in.
It's been too long.
Yeah.
I had forgotten.
I can't go unless it's all exactly the
same.
Yeah, exactly the same.
All right, so let's start with this first story. And this is a story about a biblical prophecy that claims that the rapture is coming.
It means we're back.
It's our favorite guy, our favorite Christian numerologist.
Oh, is it him?
It's him, David Meade.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
It's been a long time.
Yeah, he's been drinking some mead.
Yeah, it's been a long time since
It's hard to find mead, by the way.
Since he claimed really good mead anyway.
No, I can't find mead. I was trying to find mead to do it. Well, never mind.
Okay. Well, David Meade has said that on April 23rd, the sun and the moon will be in Virgo, as will Jupiter, which represents the Messiah. And according to him, this alignment represents the Lion of the tribe of Judah, marking the rapture.
Sounds very Game of Thrones.
Yes, so he believes that the so-called Planet X, which he is also known as Nibiru, he's a very big proponent of that, is going to appear above the sky on April 23rd, causing volcanic eruptions and tsunamis and earthquakes and start the rapture. Yeah. Now, this, of course, is the same thing he said about all the other dates that he's given.
Yeah, he said it many times.
But this time, it could be.
There's going to be people who believe him. There's going to be people actually.
Of course there are. I'm of the opinion that if you pick every single date that is somehow numerologically relevant, eventually you're going to maybe hit it on the right day.
Nah, you're never going to hit it on the right day. I mean, you're just not. If I was God, I would purposely put it off.
Right.
I would just be like, no. It's that David Meade character. David Meade probably unknowingly has saved us from rapture.
Probably
several times.
Maybe that's his actual plan.
Do you think? Yeah. You know what? If he hears this, when it doesn't happen, he's going to use that.
He's going to be like, yes.
He's going to be like, ladies and gentlemen, I just want you to know that I, David Meade, have been the one who has saved you from the rapture because God wanted you to burn. But I saved you. Sorry, I was listening to something happened earlier, and I got it on one of those AM stations,
right? And
I just left it there because I was so into the dude, and he was giving that whole, and then God gets out.
Do they teach them that in like seminary school?
They have to.
Like how to talk
be
like that?
Like promo school.
Right.
And this was one of the really you're gonna burn guys.
Right.
Man, I had a good time listening to that.
The Hellfire and Brimstone guy.
It was great. I mean, he really gets all guttural, and I almost want to make a song out of it. Just like no.
Well,
sorry.
So there you all are, April 23rd.
Yeah.
Rapture.
Well, it's very fitting that we've been gone for a couple of weeks and see what happens.
I know, because we weren't here to report on stuff.
David Meade thought he could get away with it. Not so fast, David Meade.
I just feel bad for that other David Meade that gets nasty messages, but he's not this David Meade. He's like some other David Meade, and he always gets
hell with him.
Horrible messages.
Unless he's a listener. Then,
I don't know.
Then thank you, David.
All right, well, let's move on.
Let's.
And here's a story that has another religious kind of sense to it. And
Yay.
It's one that we've been talking about a lot, about things surviving fires.
Oh, no.
Religious items.
Oh, my God.
Surviving fires.
This is what David Meade needs to be watching because there's something going on here. I don't know what happened, Stacey.
So this is about a Bible that has survived 2 fires at 2 different churches.
Wow.
Isn't
okay,
that crazy?
Wait a second. Is it cursed?
No, I mean, you think the place is caught on fire because of the Bible?
Yeah.
I don't know. I never really thought about it that way. That's something to think about. This is a story from Wisconsin, and a small community in Wisconsin.
Wisconsin's evil.
They were overjoyed when they realized that their Bible survived a fire that destroyed their church. And when they were doing a story on it, according to the pastor, it's not the first fire that Bible has been in. It originally survived a fire at a Methodist church in a different city a few minutes away. And after that church burned, the Bible was sent to this church, and now this church has burnt. Doesn't say if they're going to send it to another church. And now that you've pointed that out, I feel like people should be like, no.
It's kind of funny though.
Don't send me the Bible.
People are going to be like, oh, let us have the relic. And they're going to get the relic and it's going to burn down.
Wow.
I'm telling you, man.
Well, the first fire was in the late 50s, and it was on Easter.
Wow.
And
Dude.
the Bible was saved. And it wasn't taken to the new church. Like, they rebuilt that church, and instead of the Bible being taken to that new church, because they were like...
Oh, somebody knew.
They were like, don't bring that back.
Somebody knew. Those preachers in the 50s knew.
It was taken to this, it's called Springs United Methodist Church. It's in Plover, Wisconsin. It was taken there, and now this church has also burned down. So it doesn't say what the destination for the Bible is now. I'm kind of curious. I'd like to find out. But people were just, it's a miracle. They're like, I mean, they can't.
We need to contact them.
They can't open the Bible anymore, but it is intact.
We need to contact them. We do. Just to experiment. I want to put some meters on it and see if it's got any kind of activity.
Do you think they'd be okay with that?
Well, if they don't think it's got anything, what do they have to worry about?
True. It's there's a picture on the news story when you look, and it's
So
one of those
call them,
old school big Bibles.
Call them and tell them you're from the Ladies Auxiliary for Jesus or something, and call them and say, look, I've heard this horrible story, this rumor that there's some loudmouth guy on the radio. He thinks that it's possessed. I just want to put an end to all this.
Right.
Can we please send somebody out there just to take some EMF? We don't even have to touch it. Maybe record with audio, some stuff like that.
I mean, it doesn't hurt to ask.
A couple of rituals.
The worst that's going to do is say no. I would like to figure out where it was taken, if they're just going to hold on to it and rebuild the church, or if they're going to send it
you'll know.
To another church.
You'll know.
I don't know. It took 60 years between those two fires. So.
Yeah, you'll find out.
Yeah, maybe.
When it burns.
Well, there you go. So we went from religious artifacts surviving fire as a miracle to cursed Bible.
Yeah.
Wow. That's
I'm
impressive.
sorry.
That's impressive.
It burnt a church down on Easter.
It did.
There's nothing good about that. That's like the anti-good. That's like that you can't do that. Like, no, in the whole realm of miracles, they don't sit there and like, okay, what miracles are going to be this year? I don't know. They never pick up on that one. What about? Oh, I know. What is it, Theodore? Theodore's like the angel no one ever talks to. He's not even in the books.
Right.
What is it, Theodore? Well, why don't we burn a church down on Easter Day? We've got more people there at the church on Easter than any other day of the year. So that way they can all witness the miracle.
Oh, I see. Yeah, so it's just poor planning.
Yeah, poor planning.
A funny story about something that happened locally when I was a teenager. I don't know if you remember this. Do you know that church on Volunteer Parkway has the big white cross, the huge white cross?
Oh, yeah.
So I remember that one year close to Easter,
It's got that wicked hill.
that cross fell over.
Oh.
And it landed on a building at the church. And it just so happened that in that building at the church, kids had been in there at some other time, not when it fell, coloring Easter eggs for some kind of thing they were going to do. And the cross ended up falling over and crushing it and destroying all of the Easter eggs. So there was this big thing in my family that it was done, God did it because Easter eggs are evil.
Really?
It was really funny. Yeah.
Your family thinks that Easter's bad?
No, they think Easter eggs and the Easter bunny are not symbolic of what Easter is really about.
I have to agree with your family. I think the Easter Bunny is an evil bastard. I used to be terrified of the Easter Bunny, but for different reasons, non-religious. I just didn't want a giant bunny coming to my room.
They thought it was really ironic, I guess, irony, that the cross fell over and destroyed the Easter eggs at the church.
Well, that's a way to build a narrative.
Yeah.
They come up with that quickly, or?
Pretty quickly.
Oh.
I mean, it was a news story, and they were like, hey, yeah, that's why that happened. So.
Well, I'm glad that they know that. Any bushes burn or anything to tell them that information?
Not that I'm aware of. Okay. Not that I'm aware of.
You poor child. What?
Yeah, we never did the Easter egg thing. No.
Really?
I mean, when I was really little, before they started hardcore into the church, but no, we just went to church on Easter. We didn't do Easter baskets and stuff.
No Easter eggs.
No.
Wow.
Nope.
Dude, that was like second Christmas for us.
Oh, I know. Easter in your family. That's why when we first started dating and I went to your house for Easter, I was overwhelmed.
Yeah, because we have hundreds of eggs and plastic eggs, and they all have money in them.
Yeah, lots of money.
Yeah, like $50 bills, $5 bills. I mean, all over the yard.
Yep. Yeah.
We find them from like 2 years before sometimes.
People are probably still finding those eggs.
Yeah.
Somewhere.
I mean, that's just like our tradition. It was always a big celebration.
Yeah, not at my house. So there you go.
Oh.
Well, let's move on. I
Okay,
didn't mean to depress you. I'm sorry.
It's just really sad.
I just thought the whole religious thing was funny.
Sad, Stacey. Go ahead.
I'm not sad about it. All right, so let's talk about Israel was doing the moon landing attempt. And this happened on the 11th.
Okay.
Was when their lander, the first time Israel has ever sent something to the moon, was supposed to land on the moon on the 11th. And they broadcast it live. And it's called the Bereshit spacecraft.
Right.
And Israel has been working on this for years, and they've been ready to get into that space race with the other countries. You know, they wanted to be up there with everybody else. So it didn't turn out as well as they had hoped.
Okay.
It did crash when they tried to land it. It got very, very close.
Wow.
Like within about 400 feet, I believe. And then instead of landing like it was supposed to, it crashed. So it was not a successful moon landing, but they are not that upset about it. So let me explain.
That's a positive.
Well, the main goals for doing it were to advance Israel's space program and increase the nation's technological know-how. They wanted to get the young people involved, and for the past 8 years, the people working on this have been going to schools and they've been doing programs, and so it did all that.
Now they've all hung themselves.
All of those things, all of those things have happened. They've increased all their interest in technology. Kids are now more interested in becoming scientists, that sort of thing. So it did have a good effect, and I'm sure that they will try to do it again, but they were hoping to be the first, not only the first Israeli craft, but the first privately funded mission to ever land on the moon, because it was all completely privately funded. I believe that the robot was sent up on a SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket, and they let it off into space. It looped around the Earth a bunch of times until it got caught in the moon's gravitational force, and then that's when they tried to land it. And it was a very ambitious project for them. And they did every bit of it, including the launch, for $100 million.
Wow.
Every bit.
Wow.
And that is just amazing.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah. That they got all of that.
That's like
done.
Our dude in Arizona and his trash rockets.
Yeah.
So the moral of the story really is, if you want something done inexpensively, ask Israel.
They did good.
Good Lord.
Well, I do know that the people that were doing it is called,
that's like eons cheaper than what we spend.
Yeah, and I think NASA spends billions of dollars.
Probably trillions.
Yeah.
Gazillions.
A lot.
A lot.
A lot of money. A lot of money. So the spacecraft, it was built by Space IL and Israel Aerospace Industries. And in the article, it talks about how when they first started it, they were trying to win a prize. This company had offered a prize to the first person that could get to the moon that had never been there. It was, I don't know the exact rules, but that contest ended before they could get to the moon.
What was the prize?
$20 million.
Oh, it was money.
Yeah, it was a lot of money.
Sorry, I thought it was a knick-knack or something.
But since the contest ended, Israel still continued with the project. They wanted to still finish it and get to the moon. So the people that did the contest said that if they landed the robot on the surface of the moon, they would still give them $1 million for going through with it. And they didn't successfully land it on the moon, but the company said they were going to give them the money anyway because they touched dirt, and that was the point of it.
Wow.
So I thought that was nice.
That is nice. That doesn't happen every day.
No, it doesn't.
This is a place I always wanted to go. Israel. Mm-hmm. Always. I always wanted to visit Israel. Hopefully I can do that someday.
Yeah.
It's like one of those bucket list things.
All right, so let's go on to this next story. Speaking of space travel, I do have something about NASA here, and this was one of the stories that I did put in the newsletter recently, and it's about Vice President Mike Pence talking about how Americans will return to the moon by 2024.
Wow, that's a bold statement.
He has put a date on it. He was calling out NASA to step up their game and land astronauts on the moon within 5 years. He did warn that if NASA can't put astronauts on the moon by 2024, that we need to change the organization, not the mission. I think he feels like NASA is not working efficiently enough.
Yeah, it's true.
There's a lot of improvement that could be made in that organization, which obviously, considering what Israel's done with $100 million, obviously there's room for improvement. And the point of it now is that there are other options besides NASA. Now you have the private space companies that could be used.
Well, it's probably because NASA is actually in a deeper part of a deeper government that is trying to hide the fact of everything that's up there.
Right.
I mean, it's, like, oh, yeah, we're working on it. And now there's a lot of pressure because you got China, you got Israel, you got Russia, you got everybody that's really been surpassing us for years. And, we, after the Challenger, disaster, everything just stopped. It was so cool as a kid, as a small kid, everything was going up. I even have a toy, a die-cast metal toy of the Enterprise, which at the time was just a fictional. It looks just like Columbia. It looks just like all the others, right?
Right.
But it was the one that they thought they were going to name it first. They eventually had one named that, but this was like before there was ever a shuttle mission. It was a shuttle toy, of the shuttle. And it was so big to me because I wanted to be an astronaut. That's all I wanted to do was to be an astronaut and explore space. And I knew by the time I was an adult that I could actually be exploring space and go to these worlds that have never been seen and all this stuff. Not obviously that didn't happen, but it should have. That's the point I'm trying to make. Like we made these technological leaps and bounds, right? Look at your phone, right? So your phone goes from not being able to do anything, maybe a calculator, to being able to be what we were looking at power-wise for a personal home computer, a few years ago. I mean, and more. You could run a city off a phone. And because the technologies went all this way. So why has the technology at NASA, as far as getting us to these places, went with that? It has.
Right.
Some people talk about secret space program. If you look at where we were evolving through the years, we should be where the people thought we would be. Where the old characterizations of, this is the year 2000. And there should be flying cars. There should be all that. Something happened on that end of things where it just is weird.
I feel like that a lot of corporate greed and things play into that. People that don't want to let go of the way things work now because that means that their business would change.
Well, I don't want there to be electric cars.
No.
I mean, because it would change my business. And, I firmly against that,
I just don't think they're safe enough yet.
No, they're not. Yeah. They still kill people.
So the vice president was talking to the National Space Council when he made these remarks in Huntsville, Alabama, and he said that they are not committed to one contractor. And if our current contractors can't meet the objective, then they will find ones that will.
That's where Space Camp is.
Yes. Yeah, that's where they train all the astronauts and everything. Yeah. So the NASA administrator, Jim Bridenstine, assured Pence that NASA would work hard to meet the deadline. And a planetary scientist named Alan Stem, he's of the Southwest Research Institute, said that he thought that was a feasible target, provided that the effort is, quote, funded properly.
Right.
Yeah, so.
That's when I bring my Israeli friend in.
Show me how to do this on a budget.
Exactly. I'd be like, this is Professor Goldstein, and he just said he could do this for like $100. They're going to hate those guys.
I know. But let's move on to this next story because it's still about NASA.
Okay.
And this one, you're going to love this one. So NASA recently...
Love usually means hate.
Yeah. Well, in this case, it means you're probably going to laugh at it. So NASA had planned this historic spacewalk for the recent, the people that are in the space station. And it was going to be all female.
Yes.
There's going to be 2 females that went out and did a spacewalk. It's going to be historic. The first time
Girl
2
power.
women ever did it. And they had to cancel it because they only had one spacesuit small enough to fit a woman.
Chauvinistic pigs. What in the world?
So they had to send one woman and a man to do the spacewalk. So
Wow.
here's my question. They planned this. They planned the spacewalk.
Yeah.
It's historic.
Right.
They knew it was going to happen.
Right.
Did nobody think to check that the spacesuits fit the people? I mean, this is part of the problem with NASA, I think.
Yeah, this is, I mean, we've covered NASA in many ways, right?
We have.
And it's never like good. I mean, I'm sure that you're a NASA scientist and you're listening to us right now.
Right.
And you're doing a good job. You know why? Because you're listening to this podcast.
That's right.
So you don't want to be one of those people. In fact, you need to leak information. I mean, legal information, not information that could get people thrown in jail.
Right.
But, you know, the UFO stuff. I mean, what are they going to say? Anyway, yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. So that just, it reaffirms the fact that
Well,
obviously,
thank God they didn't put her out there in the big suit because that would have looked silly.
she wouldn't be able to see out of the little helmet window. I don't know.
That's terrible.
It just reaffirms the fact that obviously there is room for improvement
Yeah,
at the
there
NASA
is.
organization.
Yeah.
I just thought that was really hilarious.
No, it's great.
Because they dubbed it, they were like, oh, historic all women. Woo.
So do you think they've ever got busy up there?
I mean, I'm sure.
I mean, there's
really
cameras
know.
all the time. Do you think they've ever had sex up there?
I don't know. All they could do is put something over the camera.
Dude,
who's gonna take it down?
Dude, I would totally talk you into it. Like, I would totally talk an astronaut into it. I'd be like, hey, Peggy. I mean, seriously, I'd be like, come on, when are we going to ever have this chance?
So it's not the Mile High Club. It's like the
I
10,000
mean,
mile club.
I mean, it's pretty extensive. I just want to see how things shoot. I just want to.
Wow.
I'm just curious. Like, how does this all work? You know?
I'm sure it makes a horrible, horrible mess to clean up.
Oh, wouldn't it be awesome though? That's the kind of stuff that I think about. Like,
I mean, is the inside of like the space station and the shuttle stuff, is that like clean
no,
areas?
actually, there's a story. You obviously missed it. Talking about the space station and how much freaking bacteria. and seriously, it was like, give me just a second.
Okay.
So with the power of editing, that didn't take very long. So here it is from Gizmodo a couple days ago. Okay. The International Space Station is a cesspool of bacteria and fungi, study finds. This is by a guy named George Dvorsky. Well, I wouldn't marry that guy, especially in Russia. An extensive survey of bacteria and fungi on surfaces inside the International Space Station has revealed an astonishing number of microorganisms living among the astronauts, the health impacts of which aren't entirely clear. Lawsuit. Since it was first established in 1998, the International Space Station has been visited by hundreds of astronauts, 227 to be exact. These trips have invariably introduced an array of microbes into the orbital outpost, as have shipments of cargo. But while astronauts return to Earth, their germs stay behind. New research published today in Microbiome offers the most comprehensive catalog to date of the bacteria and fungi living on the ISS, detailing the station's distinctive and ever-changing microbiological profile. The research will now be used by NASA and other space agencies to develop safety measures for the ISS and other long-term space missions.
So it's just, is it stuff they recognize? Like somebody went up there with athlete's foot, or is it that all the bacteria?
It's got all kinds of names here. It says it's disgusting.
Yeah, it sounds like
No, it says it's absolutely disgusting. And, oh, wow.
I wonder if the microbes are like making new microbes they've never seen.
Oh, my God. NASA and other space agencies have already tried to monitor the microbial population using traditional culture methods. Trouble is, a significant portion of microbes, between 40 to 46%, cannot be cultured, i.e. grown in a petri dish,
Right.
Making detection difficult, if not impossible. For the new study, a new sampling and testing protocol was developed utilizing both the traditional culture method and the molecular-based techniques, allowing for the most extensive survey of microbes on the ISS to date. NASA astronauts took stabs using sterile wipes at 8 predefined locations on the ISS.
They need to use those sterile wipes a little more thoroughly.
On 3 different occasions during a 14-month period. The locations included both high and low traffic areas, viewing window, toilet, exercise platform, stowage rack, dining table, sleeping quarters. NASA astronaut Terry Virts performed the first 2 sampling sessions, blah, blah, blah.
I mean,
let's see what they say here.
Don't they clean up there? Like,
I mean,
is that
obviously,
something that can be done?
Obviously not. So the most prolific bacteria, according to culture results, were staph, 26% of total samples, Pantoia, 23%, Bacillus, another Staphylococcus aureus, something, a bunch of stuff we don't know.
Yeah, well, I mean, they know what it is. Obviously, there's names for it. It's not foreign.
No, they know what it is, but
it sounds like a lot of staph infection up
yeah,
there.
it sounds terrible. It's just disgusting. Wow. Count me out.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, I mean, I realize that a lot of different people use the International Space Station, but you would think with something so advanced that they could bring something up there to disinfect and somehow make sure the area was sanitary. At least, I mean, where you eat, good gracious.
That's terrible.
People live in there.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's just crazy. They're probably like, let the Russians do it.
Well,
then the Russians are like, let the
I'm
Yanks
assuming
do it.
they have to recycle the air and all that stuff.
And the pee and all that, yeah.
Oh, that's terrible. Yeah, I don't ever want to go there now.
Yeah, no, it sounds really, really bad.
It does give a lot of credence to the yes, they do get busy up there theory.
Oh, wow. I bet they're like, can you imagine being the astronaut that did get busy standing behind like the doctor and you're like, I don't know what this is. And he's like, I don't know. Looks like snot.
Somebody bring the black light in, please. Black light.
Wow, I'd like to see that place under black light.
Not me.
It's probably like
look like a crime scene.
It's like some kitty crazy party, like Cartman's cat, like the little sex orgy. That's crazy.
All right. Well, let's move on away from NASA now.
So you mean we're not going to talk anymore about the astronauts?
We're not. We're going to move on to something else.
All right.
A really cool discovery.
Oh.
So this is a story about a study that was published in the Geology and Geophysics journal called EOS. It's headlined, The Unsolved Mystery of the Earth Blobs. So what this study is about is some new computer models that show 2 massive mountainous regions, the length of whole continents, that rise up 100 times higher than Mount Everest, that are inside the Earth.
Oh, wow.
Yes. So you remember when you were in school and you saw like the Earth and you had to draw the picture of like the core and then the outer core and then the mantle and all these neat little circles and stuff. Well, that isn't the true case of what's inside the Earth, obviously. And these areas sit right on the outer core and rise up through the mantle. And they don't really know what they are. They just know that there are 2 mountainous regions. And to illustrate how big they are, they say they're 100 times higher than Mount Everest. So Mount Everest is 29,000 feet high. So these are 2,900,000 feet high from the core up through the mantle. And it says that if these mountainous areas were placed on the surface of the Earth, they would be so large that the International Space Station would have to navigate around them.
Wow, thank God, so it doesn't get any germs on it.
That's how big they are. So one of the mountainous blobs lies under the Pacific Ocean.
Why do they call them mountainous blobs?
Because I'm not really sure what they are. They're
blobs
just
blobs is the best thing they could come up with.
Apparently,
all right.
apparently that's
all right. I'm fine.
The other one is under Africa and part of the Atlantic Ocean.
Okay, so under Africa and what was the other?
Under the Pacific Ocean.
Oh, the Pacific Ocean. Ring of Fire.
Yes. So a long time ago, like back in the 70s, not a really long time ago, but scientists knew that waves going through the Earth would slow down in certain areas, but they didn't know why. And now they know why. It's because of these mountains that are in this layer of the Earth that they didn't know were there before.
Well, that's just fantastic.
Yes.
I mean, that's just amazing. So does that throw away the whole molten core completely, or?
I don't think so. Now, they're in the mantle area, so they still think that we have the iron core, and then like the outer core. So this would be outside of the core. It would just be in that.
So how about area. Hollow Earth? Does that keep Hollow Earth alive for me?
I mean, I feel like it should, but they don't really know, and they're admitting that they don't know. They don't know what the composition of them are. They don't know what the purpose of them are. They don't know how they were formed or what they're for. They only know that they're there.
So many mysteries right under our feet.
But I thought that it was really interesting because of the hollow earth theories.
Yeah.
I mean, if there really are mountains down there that they know
One of the crazy ones I believe in.
Yes. Then what's to say there isn't a whole ecosystem down there, or trees, anything.
Oh yeah.
So
I'm sure there are.
This is a very interesting
I think
story.
there's its own source of light and everything down there. At least I hope.
So hopefully they'll keep studying. I don't know. I mean, there's no way to be able to tell.
No, not yet.
What it is.
Not until we get a giant drill machine and go to the center of the earth.
I think they've made movies about that, haven't they?
A couple.
Didn't turn out well from what I remember.
It turned out okay. I mean, just going, I would still go.
Would you?
Yeah,
to the center of the earth?
I am a test pilot kind of guy.
Wow.
I would absolutely do it. I
think I would.
Just to go somewhere that has never been gone to before, like to cross the Virgin Land, to see the temple for the first time, to explore the deepest, darkest parts of space. If they said, hey, you might die.
Right.
But we're going to let you do this. I would do it. I would. I want to see things that no one else has seen.
Wow. Well, that would be cool. It would be hard to do the center of the earth, though, because you'd have to go in this little, it'd be like just this little hole. It'd be very closed in. It would be very difficult. I don't think I could do it.
Well, that would be hard for me.
Yeah. It'd be hard for anybody.
Now that you've described my greatest fear. I mean, is that what, did you mean to do that?
I mean, not specifically, no. That's why I wouldn't do it.
I'm claustrophobic, so yeah.
See, I'm not claustrophobic, and I still wouldn't do it. Nope.
Well, you must be a little claustrophobic.
Maybe. I just don't want to die. That's what it is.
It's hard to be a big dude, like over 6 feet, because, I mean, you get claustrophobic because it's so hard, like even... As a kid, I was taller than other kids and stuff. So you go through those little play sets and stuff, and when you crawl through, it's harder to move your shoulders. It's just different. And still yet for me, I can't get on a bed that, my feet don't fall off. And
this is true.
And I'm just saying, it's just, there's little things there's reasons.
All right. So let's talk about another discovery that kind of plays into a little theory that you have.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so this is about a new species of human that was discovered in a cave in the Philippines. On the island of Luzon in the Philippines. Back in about 2007, the University of Philippines, they discovered a 67,000-year-old human foot bone. And they tentatively assigned it, human to our species. But by 2016, there were rumors that they had found more fossils that looked too primitive to belong to our species, to Homo sapiens. So now they have confirmation. They found 12 more fossils, 7 teeth, 2 finger bones, and 2 toe bones, and part of a thigh bone that have been dated back as far as 50,000 years old.
Wow.
And the fossils are roughly the same age as some of the, quote, hobbit humans. Do you remember when they found the hobbit-like human remains? So that area that they found those hobbit human remains is only about 3,000 kilometers south of this. And this is an island, and that was also an island. So now they're of the theory that a completely different species of human has evolved on this island. And they don't have enough evidence to say that they are hobbit-like, like the other ones they found, but the fossils are all very small, like much smaller than you would think would be normal for a Homo sapien, a Philippine human. So the theory that they are working with now is that since these are all islands and they're all separated and isolated, that possibly a long time ago people were accidentally swept out to sea or somehow came to be on the island and didn't have any way to get off of the island because couldn't readily just build a ship or communicate in any way. And so they've just developed a whole culture there on that island and, evolved into a different kind of species, different from Homo sapiens.
That's a very stupid idea.
That's the idea.
Instead of it just being, completely different the whole time.
I mean, it could be. The way they think now is it's definitely different, a different species, but even different than those hobbit ones that they found out. Just very old, completely new species of human?
50,000 years ago. So it's probably 150 million years ago.
It could be. I mean, who's to know? And now they want to start looking on the other islands in that area in hopes of possibly finding even more species that they didn't know about.
And people wonder if Bigfoot could be real. I mean, that's just nuts, man. And you know, these things usually get talked about and then passed over, and people don't really think about it. And again, there's a big majority of people that don't think about it, that just go, well, you know, 5,000 years, 10,000 years maybe. I mean, you go back 50,000 years, you're going back past the last like disaster, you know, 10,000, 11,000 years ago. And I mean, it's just nuts, man. It's really Lord of the Rings.
It is. Well, that's why I said it was something that you really would be excited about, because, you know, I remember when they found the Hobbit like humans, you know, and we always talk about the different ages of man and stuff. This seems to fall right in line with that.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
A whole different...
It's a different era. There could have been high technology. We have no idea. I mean, that's why I said it was cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. They could have flown there. I mean...
They could have wanted to be on that little island away from everyone else.
You just never know. That's a great find and a great story. And it just keeps unraveling more and more. It's like the more things we find, the more questions we have.
Right.
We never get answers. No. Not true answers. It's just more questions.
So much that's unknown.
Yeah, it's so much is unknown past, you know, yesterday. You go back in time, man. It's just, it is so unreal. It's just so full of magic. It's so full of mystery. And I mean, look at Egypt. Just watch a couple of documentaries on Egypt. Watch a couple where like look at the work of Dr. Robert Schoch.
Right.
Try to figure out why there's water damage on the Sphinx. Okay? It doesn't make sense, okay, because of where it's at. Also, things with the Great Pyramids, they don't make sense. The Great Pyramids do not make sense. They just don't. They don't go with anything else that's there. There's no hieroglyphs on the inside of the pyramid. It's not a burial chamber. There's never been a sarcophagus found in the Great Pyramid.
Right. Not to mention that every single tomb you go in Egypt has some sort of pictures or writing or...
There's nothing there. And there's nothing there. And you know, the stuff that the way it was formed and made, we still can't do it. I mean, there's just, but it's there, and it's so obvious that we just, you know, let people tell us what they want to tell us, and well, it was probably done like this and done like, no, it wasn't. Okay, if it was a true Egyptian deal, there would have been hieroglyphics in there. There would have been. It's just, it's unique. It's something that's happened. It may have landed there. I don't know. There is more mystery to that. There's mystery to all of it. Maybe it's all into the earth or something. I don't know. Or maybe power grids, you know, using like some weird kind of power throughout the earth, you know, that's free energy or whatever. So much mystery.
Do you think someone knows?
Yes. I think somebody knows. I think somebody's known for a long time. I think the Library of Alexandria was probably burned to the ground
on purpose.
I think that every time we have something or somewhere that's going to give us answers or clues, they do everything they can to hide that or keep that from us for whatever reason. Maybe it's to keep religion where religion is. Maybe it's to keep control over us. Maybe it's to do this and do that. You know, I don't know what the reason is, but absolutely somebody knows, and a group of people know. I believe that many groups know a lot more than we know. I think there's probably a group that knows everything, and
we probably don't know who that group is. Like that group probably is not known to anybody.
No,
super secret.
They're not in a book. You know, they laugh at the books. It's if you want to be secret, you'll be secret, and if you're that secret, you'll kill someone before that book gets published. And that's just the way it goes. I don't know why they would guard those kind of secrets. That's the thing that's always bothered me, is not as much as is it being guarded, but why is it being guarded? And I guess it just comes down to control. What would this population do if we found out that we were all special, if we were all unique, if we could all have this energy, if we could all do, you know, these wonderful things? You know, why do we not use any of our brain? You know, why is it there? I mean, it's just those kind of questions that are really odd. and they don't make sense, but we just accept them because they've always been.
Right.
You know, it's kind of like the appendix, right? Mm-hmm. Why is it there?
And why do we not need it?
Nobody really knows. Mm-hmm. They guess, but it's stupid. I mean, it's just stupid.
Yeah, because you can take it out and it doesn't matter.
Yeah. I mean, it just doesn't belong. I think that we are just very okay to accept things because ever since we were born, they've been that way. Mm-hmm. And so many things have changed here recently, right? There's been so much weird happen over the last few years, most of which I don't agree with, but it's really messed up the whole status quo to, you know, the way things operate. Mm-hmm. And that's really, I don't know. I just think it's time for us to know the truth about everything. And I bet you there's a little thread that connects it all.
Oh, I'm sure.
You know, we talked about that on Spaced Out Radio. That is it all connected? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, most likely.
I think it's connected in some form or fashion.
Yes. Okay, so let's move on. And this is the story about the amazing mummy discovery, where they found the high priest's 2,500-year-old remains, and it was uncovered on live television.
Oh, wow.
On the same Sunday as WrestleMania.
On the Josh Gates show.
Yes, on Expedition Unknown. He was there, and they opened the stone sarcophagus, and it was broadcast live, and it was called Expedition Unknown Egypt Live. It was a 2-hour live event, and they discovered what they describe as an exquisitely preserved mummy inside the sealed sarcophagus, covered in gold banding.
Wow.
So they were very excited about it. It was a very incredible find. It was found at Al Gharifa, which is a remote site about 165 miles south of Cairo.
Right.
2 other mummies were also found at the site, one of which appears to be a female who was discovered inside like a family tomb, alongside some objects like a board game and the remains of the dog and, you know, some jars containing the organs, normal things you find in a tomb.
Yeah.
And they found a third mummy, but it was not a high priest, or it wasn't very well preserved. But objects in the tomb and inscriptions on the sarcophagus indicate that he was like a singer in the temple of Thoth. So
wow,
he still got a nice burial, but it wasn't as well done as somebody that would have been as important.
Yeah, right.
And they also discovered an incredible 2,500-year-old wax head, which is thought to be a cast of one of the high priests.
Wow.
So some amazing stuff.
Yeah.
That they found. And I'm sure you can still go back and watch that because Discovery Channel is really good at, you know, keeping those things online for you to watch if you want to go back and see it. And it says that this particular necropolis has been largely shrouded in mystery, although another high priest sarcophagus was discovered nearby back in 1927. However, the mummy from that one was gone.
Right.
Like they found the sarcophagus, but there was no mummy in it.
Right.
So, but very cool, and just another in a really long line of discoveries that they are coming out with from Egypt. Like they are really doing some amazing things.
Yeah, Egypt's been on fire, man.
Yeah, and I'll actually put a link up on the website, and I've linked to it before, but I'll link to it again. There is a website that keeps track of everything that they discover and come out with just in Egypt. There's so many that you can do it. You do it by, I think they do it every 2 or 3 months, and you click on that section in time, and it'll just list out everything they found with links to the news articles, you know, for whatever it was they found. So tons of stuff. Tons and tons of stuff.
That's crazy.
I know. I mean, I think they're really trying to drive tourism and things, and you know, really want to show that they do care about their
they're still
history.
Speaking of being hidden, though.
Yeah, it just makes you wonder. Like, I realize that they want to increase their tourism, but it's starting to feel like they're looking for something in particular. I mean, they're all of a sudden they're digging up everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's stuff there that I don't know. I'm not going to get into it again.
All the hidden things.
Well, there are.
It just feels like they're doing a lot of this, and they're, you know, broadcasting it, and it's great, but why so many? Why in so many areas? Why? It's like they're looking for something. I don't know. I can't shake that feeling.
Or keeping us away from something else they found.
Oh, like just it's like a distraction.
Yeah.
Like, oh, hey, look over here.
That's how most of those things work.
Mummy's over here. Oh, look over here.
Oh, yeah. The daddy, yeah.
All right. So let's move on to this next story. And this is a story talking about that Dyatlov Pass investigation that they are doing that we talked about. And they have begun doing the investigation. And there's a link here for a story where you can watch some drone footage of drones flying over the Dyatlov Pass. That's part of their investigation. But what I thought was really odd about this story, because the results are not expected to be revealed until like August, like later in the year. But during this investigation, the original investigator for this particular incident, for the Dyatlov Pass incident, turned over a lot of his materials, his research materials. They got all that information. So mixed in with that investigative materials that was turned over was a picture that no one had ever seen before of another person that was not part of the incident. He was not one of the 9 hikers. And so there was this whole article about who is this man that is laying in the snow. Now, I think the prevailing theory is that he's part of another investigation the same guy did, and somehow he just got mixed in. The picture just got mixed in with the materials. But, you know, there's no telling if that's really what happened, or if there's more to the story that
some kind of cover up
no one is supposed to know about. So it's very strange. It's very strange. And I will link to this, and you can go and at least watch the video. They haven't really said anything else about, you know, the investigation, because they're not going to reveal any of that. But this did get out about this strange picture. And there is, the picture's on the article. It's on there twice. The first time, the man's all scrubbed out. Like somebody put him in paint on the computer and took white and like scrubbed the whole thing out.
It's
and
Russia.
I saw the picture. And I was like, that's really weird. What is that? And then I scrolled down. I was like, oh, yeah, there's a dead guy in the snow.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's really strange, because even the headline of the article is, who is this man? Like nobody has any idea.
Maybe it's Waldo.
I would think that if it was really part of another investigation, that would be easy to figure out. Like they could just look at the other. I mean, are there so many for that year that
probably not,
they can't figure out where that would have come from? So I don't know. Very, very strange.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I know we're kind of
time traveler.
Oh, no. Not anymore.
Yeah.
Not anymore. That was bad. Could you imagine time traveling and ending up in Dyatlov Pass?
No.
Oh, crap. That would be my luck.
I would like to see it, though, what happened.
Yeah, I would like to know what happened for real. I know we were kind of down on the whole investigation because they're not, you know, they immediately said we're not going to take any kind of strange conspiracy theory claims into account, like UFOs or
but that's what it was.
Bigfoot and stuff like that. I know they're immediately discounting
the main thing,
the whole thing.
Yeah.
I know. It's terrible.
I mean, it's ridiculous. Whatever they come up with, I mean, they've closed off so much. I mean, you can't say you're not going to look at something. You're not going to take into account. That's ridiculous. That's as ridiculous as a conspiracy theory. You know, you have to keep your mind open for everything. So
I agree. All right, so let's move on. And this is another space story. It's about how scientists reveal the first ever image of a black hole. Do you remember reading about this?
Yes. Black hole sun. Won't you come?
So this is a much heralded scientific breakthrough.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's called the Event Horizon Telescope Project, and they detailed the findings of their mission. And it was this long press conference, and I will link to this story because it's like a 35-minute video where they're talking about what they did and the whole process, and they're showing the picture of the black hole. Have you seen the picture?
Who hasn't? Yes, it's amazing.
It's amazing.
I mean, it looks like a lens flare, but I mean...
Right. It just looks like and of course, if you go on Twitter and look it up, there a lot of people have made a lot
tons.
of hilarious
My
jokes
favorite is the Joe Biden one.
I haven't seen that one.
It's Joe Biden coming from around it, kissing it on the side.
I think I saw one that they said they focused it in, and it was the red ring of death on your Xbox.
yeah, I've seen that. I've seen the Eye of Sauron.
Yeah, there was a bunch of those, like somebody cleaning their glasses. And
I've seen, all kinds of stuff.
Well, it is an amazing, event.
It's a big deal.
It's a huge deal.
It's actually just been a theory, really.
Yes, and and the only thing you've ever seen about black holes have all just been artist renditions.
Yeah,
because they just know what a black hole is, and
it looked pretty damn close.
Yeah, and it's hard to take a picture because there's no light.
Yeah,
in a black hole. So
I mean, it's the zoomed out thing was really cool. I don't know, it's crazy. I mean, it opens up a lot. I mean, black holes are so mysterious themselves. Like, where do they lead you to? And
right.
does it take you to another dimension? being able to actually capture that is really huge. And I don't believe people realize how big it is.
No,
because,
I don't think so
you know,
either.
it really is a big deal for scientists.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Even if the picture does look a little blurry, I mean,
Yeah.
it's still,
I mean,
it's
my
the
God,
most
it's in
amazing
deep
thing.
space.
Yeah, it's like 54 million light years away. Just the fact that we can get a picture of it is amazing.
Yeah, it's
Absolutely
nuts.
amazing. So if you're interested in the spacey side of it, definitely watch that press conference because they go through the whole details. They've got the whole big screen up and
Right,
show it
right.
and explain it and everything. So very cool, very cool. So let's talk about something the Mars rover took a picture of on Mars, obviously.
Right.
And this claims that the Mars rover has taken photos of, quote, mushrooms growing on the surface of the red planet. And if you look at the pictures, they look kind of like mushrooms.
Wouldn't you like to eat those mushrooms?
No, I wouldn't. So supposedly these new photographs of Martian mushrooms have left some scientists convinced that that is some kind of life on the red planet.
Wow.
And so it was a new study that was published in the Journal of Astrobiology. And there's 15 images captured by the Curiosity rover. And the photos, it says they seem to show the potential life forms growing larger and emerging from the red sands of Mars. So a microbiologist named Dr. Regina Das, she's from the Pondicherry University in India. She argued that no known non-living force could have produced that type of growth. And she says that they have mushroom shapes, stems, stalks, and shed what looks like spores on the surrounding surface. And she's a microbiologist, so she looks at that type of thing all the time.
Basically, she's saying if it smells like crap and looks like crap,
Right.
it's probably crap.
It's probably crap. And she said 15 specimens were photographed by NASA growing out of the ground in just 3 days. Now, NASA has not commented on the research, and there are experts involved in the peer review that do agree with this mushroom hypothesis.
Well, I mean, NASA's just behind the 8 ball as always.
The Journal of Astrobiology and Space Science Reviews, the ones that published it, it proved to be so controversial that they subjected the article to extensive peer review. And there was 6 independent scientists and 8 senior editors that scrutinized it. Only 3 rejected the evidence, while 11 recommended that it should be published.
Yeah.
So, I mean, after they make a couple of revisions, but for the most part, they went ahead and let it go through because enough people agreed with what was in it to go ahead and let that be published. Now, the journal's official position is evidence is not proof, and there's no proof that there's life on Mars. So they're just sort of staying out of it. They're not going to give their opinion on it specifically. But other scientists have argued that they're not mushrooms, but a form of iron oxide hematite. Like they're saying that it's like hematite. But I don't know. I mean, if you look at the pictures, they do look like mushrooms, and it does look like they are shedding spores around, the area where they're at. And wow, what a big thing that would be.
Huge.
If that proved to be true.
Man, just think of where we were at with water. We talk about it all the time.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And if there's water up there, there's probably mushrooms.
And mushrooms can grow anywhere just about, can't
Yeah,
they?
they can. Pretty much.
I feel like we should have a way to be able to take a sample of that.
Yeah.
One of the mushrooms or whatever. Of course, NASA's not really put in their opinion on it, so they would be the ones that would have to do it. So I don't know. It's an interesting...
Do one of my ideas to get the sample, but...
What would you do to get the sample?
No, I'm just saying, I have some pretty ingenious, cheaper ways of...
Right.
figuring that
I
stuff
vaguely
out.
remember a huge Alka-Seltzer tablet
Yeah.
in a hole to see if there's water.
See if it's water, yeah. Obvious. I mean, the same thing with the mushrooms.
I mean, it could happen.
We just drop some hippie down there and,
All right. Well, let's move on. You ready to move on?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So let's go on to this next story. It's also about a study about space, but this one's really interesting. So this is a study done by scientists from Cornell University that claim that alien life could be evolving right now on some of our nearest exoplanets.
Huh.
What this study focused on was UV surface radiation and how it shouldn't limit the habitability of certain planets. Now, they say that, we can survive here on Earth because we have atmosphere and the ozone, and we're protected from the UV radiation. So they picked 4 planets, 4 ones that are close to Earth that are habitable, or in their Goldilocks zones, that sort of thing. One of them is Proxima b. They took one from the TRAPPIST 1e, Ross 128b, and LHS 1140b. Those are the 4 planets that they focused on.
Right.
And they did UV
I
radiation
hope the planet
levels.
Ross is like near Rachel. Wouldn't that be cool?
It might be. I don't know anything
if it was
about
all
that
the friends
planet.
like Ross, Rachel, Monica, Chandler.
That'd be awesome. Joey'd be way out. In the end. So they took the UV environments of those exoplanets and they compared them to levels on Earth throughout its evolution and assessed the mortality rates at different wavelengths. And what they discovered was that all of those planets have a lower UV radiation rate, lower than what Earth's was.
Wow.
Over time. So even though they thought that, planets that had thin atmospheres and not good ozone protection, they thought that those would be uninhabitable because of the radiation. They found that that wasn't necessarily the truth, and that on those types of planets, if there's life there now, they could potentially survive if they lived, under rocks or things like that. That it's not
like China.
that you can't use the UV radiation as a factor in saying that there couldn't be life there now. That's what the study focused on, which is really fascinating.
I think they could adapt anyway. I think that life finds a way. It could be like UV people,
UV people. Well, anyway, it's a cool little study, and they've been focusing. One of the purposes of looking for those exoplanets in
they're made
Goldilocks
of mirrors.
I mean, that could be true. You could have an alien with skin was like very reflective. Yeah, you never know. You never know. So these are all of our closest neighboring worlds, and they make intriguing targets for the hunt for some type of alien life. And it's just another one of those articles in a long line of, the news and studies and scientists focusing on the search for alien life
when it's right here under their noses.
Yeah, exactly. But it's been ongoing. It's like they're doing a little bit more every time. Like
well, it's the cool thing is it's a approved topic. It's an approved research now.
Right. Oh yeah, it's not. People don't laugh at you and take your PhD away.
I think people take it for granted now that there's alien life. I think that people now think that it's more likely that there's alien life than there's not alien life.
But I think that was the point of the way they're doing it. Like we've always talked about, it's almost like we're going to have some kind of disclosure, but you got to make everybody okay with it first so that they don't freak out. So it's just little bits at a time, like, oh, there's water here. Oh, look at the, UV radiation's fine. Oh, look. And there's even a story about confirming methane on Mars now.
Yeah.
Which, they already had detected it, but I think somebody else detected it and it was like a double confirmation.
Right. No, I mean, that's just how you do it. It's just little at a time. I mean, if you walked around with your nipple cut out of your shirt, like, the first couple of days, it'd be like, whoa,
It'd be shocking.
But then after a while, it's just going to be old hat, till you cut out the other one. And it's just like, I'm used to it at that point.
And you're like, whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
Whatever. It's fine. All right, so let's move on to this next story, which is about the world's premier Sasquatch calling contest.
Meaning there's one that's not the premier?
Apparently, there's a number 2 and a number 3. I don't know how many Sasquatch calling contests there are.
Well, we're going to start one now.
This one. And what makes this article so interesting is it's done by ESPN. And ESPN sent cameras to the festival and to the Sasquatch calling contest, and they put together
I bet they love that.
a almost 6 minute video package.
Wow, 6 minutes.
About the whole event. And
that's a lot longer than normal videos. I mean,
it is.
ESPN, normally it's like, here's this NFL football player lost his leg in a horse accident. And then he's coming along, and then it ends up with him and the horse walking away on the beach,
Sad music.
And
his mama got him through. And,
right.
Yeah. Yes. Well, this was a video, and it came along with a really long article. And it was really interesting because they went through how the festival got started and a lot of the history of that area. And it's Whitehall, New York. It's called the Sasquatch Calling Festival in Whitehall, New York. And so it talks about this man named Brian Gosselin. He was an ex-police officer in that area. And it talks about something that happened to him on August 25th, 1976. And this is pretty interesting. So he's a police officer. And at that time, there had been multiple reports from other police officers about strange sightings and what they would refer to as vocalizations in the area before he arrived in that area and took that post. So the local
I wonder if our neighbors ever talked about strange vocalizations when we were dating.
Probably.
Oh.
So local folklore had claimed that this region, which is between the Adirondacks and Lake Champlain, was some kind of like paranormal portal or interdimensional migratory route for Sasquatch. Like, it was a very high traffic area for this type of thing. And so on August 25th, 1976, Gosling went on a call to the woods, and he stepped out of his car, and he said that he immediately noticed the noise level. There was absolutely no noise. None. No crickets, no birds, no bullfrogs, nothing. Complete silence. Right. And he said that a second later, the calm was broken by the distinct sound of snapping twigs and cattails, like something was charging at him through the brush. So he swung his spotlight in the direction, and less than 30 feet away, he saw what he claims was a Bigfoot. It says almost 8 feet tall, long hairy limbs like an orangutan, black lips, and a muscular buttocks.
Oh, did he say that?
Apparently, the guy who wrote the article said that Gosling feels compelled to mention that several times.
Oh.
So
maybe that spotlight that he swung around wasn't actually a flashlight.
And he said that it had glowing electromagnetic red eyes.
Oh.
So
jeez.
He was very sure about what this thing looked like. And he said he was completely scared stiff.
Was he scared stiff, really?
He was.
He had glistening.
He had the
buttocks.
He had the paradigm shifting experience. It was paradigm shifting.
Yes, well, that's paradigm shifting.
Yes. So he said that the Bigfoot didn't stick around.
All I can see is the glistening buttock now. That's all I can see is muscle butt.
Well, he said that it wasn't in the mood to socialize.
I hope it doesn't have hair on it. Like, I hope everything else is covered in hair.
You know it can't.
Except his butt.
Yeah. Well, it has to be, because it says it's muscular. How would you know it was muscular?
Bigfoot turns around and is like, hey, look at this. Bing, 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 bing. Just bouncing it up.
So it was spooked by the spotlight. So he looked right at Gosling and did a 20-second vocalization.
Monologue?
No, he calls it a Godzilla-like roar.
Really?
That was really powerful.
Like old Godzilla, like that.
No, I think it was pretty deep. But he said that it was so loud he could feel it in his chest. Like a really loud, thunderous, noise. And then it turned around and ran back into the forest. And he said it used 7-foot strides and just crossed this 1,500-foot field in a matter of seconds. And before disappearing, he said the creature let out 3 more of these, humongous bellows.
It's probably like Bigfoot's rape whistle.
And so he was...
It's like he keeps staring at my muscle butt.
This was very life-changing for him.
I'm sure.
Like, it was an experience, and it wasn't the only experience.
I've been chasing that butt ever since.
In the area.
I've never seen a butt like it.
Be serious.
I'm being serious. He's the one that said muscle butt.
So, as funny as that is, he filled out a police report about it because he was a police officer.
Look, if I see a Bigfoot and it's the most amazing experience I've ever had, it's just life-changing, but the Bigfoot has like an 8-foot schlong, I'm not going to put that in there, no matter how impressive it is. Okay, if it's thrown over his shoulder and it has a toboggan on the top of it, okay, if he's got it up there next to him and it talks, okay, still not gonna mention it.
Right,
it's not gonna happen. All right, I'm just saying the muscle buttocks is just funny to me.
It is.
You
funny.
Can't tell me things like that and not expect me to be humored.
Okay. I expected you to be humored. That's why I told you.
Okay, I'm done now. Be serious. Tell us something serious.
Okay, so he filled out
This is scary, folks.
He filled out an official police report, but he claims that all the logbooks from that time have since gone missing. Nobody can find any of the logbooks from that time because it was like a flap of sightings during that time. So it's a little bit of a conspiracy theory on that. They're not sure where those have gone, but his official police report is now missing. So as they're telling
that's weird.
It is a little bit weird. So as they're telling the history of this area, Whitehall, they talk about
because if that wasn't true, some other cops or somebody local would say, "Hey, he's full of crap. Those logbooks are here."
Right.
So for him to say that in public, that has to be real. And if that's real, That's crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy. And this area does have a history of other sightings. In fact, it talks about how Whitehall was founded in the mid-1700s by British Army Captain Philip Skene. And I want to go see this because apparently he has an ornate and what they call a Scooby-Doo villain-style mansion.
Oh, wow.
That still overlooks the town from up on a riverbank.
This gets better
Which
and better.
would be awesome. And because of its early history of like shipbuilding and munitions, Whitehall is like the self-proclaimed birthplace of the U.S. Navy. I think a couple of cities claim that. But their other claim to fame dates back from the French explorer Samuel de Champlain,
right.
Lake Champlain, who in his logs from 1604 noted...
The monster, the lake monster?
Well, that's Lake Champlain, yeah.
Yeah.
In his logs from 1604, he noted tales that were told to him from the native Iroquois about a giant, hairy man-beast that they called Gugu. I think that, I don't know if that's how you say that.
They called it Gugu.
It's Gougou.
Yeah, I hope they called it Gugu.
Maybe Gao Gao.
No, it's Gugu.
That roamed the woods and might have from time to time dined on human flesh. So it's one of those.
I hope it also yelled Gugu as it ran.
I hope so.
Gugu!
So it is one of those Native American stories about Bigfoot in that area. So that sort of leads, credence to the fact that it's around there. And in the article, they also spoke to a man named Paul Bartholomew, who is like
My name's Paul. It's between y'all.
He's Whitehall's top Bigfoot investigative researcher, right? And he has Bigfoot castings, and he explains that starting in the late 1970s when Gosselin had his encounter, it was part of dozens of documented sightings in the area, and most of them were by law enforcement. And
Documented but not found, right?
Right. And in one of them, shots were fired. But all of those records are now missing. Like
was
I
it
said,
the Bigfoot that shot? Or
I don't think so.
Oh.
And in early 1982, another police officer watched a tall, hairy beast bound up a steep embankment in a matter of seconds.
Wow.
And even one of the officers that saw it took a lie detector test about the sighting later on and passed that.
Wow.
So this is one of the many incidents that were logged and investigated and authenticated by Warren Cook, who was an anthropologist at Castleton College. So it has a long history of Sasquatch, and that's why they claim that their animal is Sasquatch. It's one of those towns where everything's Sasquatch. You go there and it's like Sasquatch material, Sasquatch merch, everything. And they have a real claim to that, I think, with all of the activity.
What started as a simple little
muscular buttocks.
No, a Bigfoot call. Mm-hmm. Bigfoot calling contest ended up being a hell of a place.
Yeah, and so
I want to go there now.
I kind of want to go too. I want to go just see that guy's mansion. But if you go read the story, there's more information in the story. Like I said, it's pretty long, and the video package is pretty interesting. And you get to see the contestants doing they have like a contest for kids, and then they have a contest for the adults. And so they do a pretty good job showing it there, with their really nice ESPN cameras.
And I got a really muscular butt.
You do. You could be a Bigfoot. You're not hairy, though.
No, I'm not at all. There's not a single hair on my butt.
Thank goodness.
You could bounce a quarter off of it, but there's...
I'm glad you're not hairy.
Yeah, I'm not at all. It's really sad.
No, I'm glad. I like the non-hairiness of it.
It sucked in high school. Like,
did it?
Changing in locker rooms and stuff, like not having any hair. Like all the other kids. There was some kids that had like the fur coat.
Right.
I mean, those weird kids, at 11 years old.
And they made fun of you for not having hair?
Oh, yeah. It's a man thing. Yeah.
Wow. I did not know that.
Yeah, no, I had, but I mean, I look like a 8-year-old, like a prepubescent. I mean, I have no hair whatsoever anywhere.
No, I prefer that. I prefer the no hair.
It's good.
Yeah.
It's good. I mean, if I did have hair, I would probably shave it. So I don't like hair. So I don't like hair on men or women.
Right.
It's another thing that's scary from the 70s.
I couldn't have lived through the 70s. No.
Yeah.
All right. So let's move on. All right. So I just have a couple more stories here. And this one is about the largest unnamed object in the solar system needs a title. And you can vote on what you think is the best name for it.
What is it?
It's a minor planet that lies beyond Neptune's orbit, has no name. It's an object from the Kuiper Belt, and it was discovered in 2007, and they've been studying it for the last 12 years. Right now, it is just designated as 2007 OR10. That was because when it was found.
Let's call it Eastwood.
No, they have names. You just have to vote on them. So
you don't want to know why I wanted to call it Eastwood?
Why did you want to call it Eastwood?
Because he did the famous movies where he was the man with no name.
Oh, yes, of course. I've seen those.
Yeah. So
sorry, I'm not as up on my Eastwood as you are.
Oh man, me love me some Eastwood. Clint's the freaking man.
So the International Astronomical Union, who approves the names, they have guidelines that stipulate that all minor planets in the Kuiper Belt with similar orbits must be given names associated with mythological creation figures. So you can pick the name, but it has to fall in these guidelines. So the astronomers who located it, they came up with 3 possible names for it. And you get to vote on which one you like the best. Now, they didn't do it right away because they really wanted to study the planet so they could pick a name that was really relevant to the planet. And it took them 12 years. And what they discovered about the planet was that it's pretty far away. So what they figured out the planet was that it's very red. It's probably the reddest planet in the area.
Right.
And it has a lot of water and ice and that sort of thing. So they picked 3 names. The first one is Gong Gong.
Okay.
Which is a Chinese water god who, in addition to creating chaos and causing floods, is known for tilting the earth. He also has red hair, so that kind of plays in with the red. The second one is Holle, Holle. It's a Germanic spirit of fertility and rebirth. And Holle is linked to like winter solstice and evergreen plants with red berries, that kind of thing. The last one is my favorite. It's Vili, which is the Norse god who, along with his brothers, Odin and Ve, conquers the giant Ymir and uses the body to create the universe. Oh. That's my favorite.
Vili.
I like that one, yes.
Yes.
And they picked that name because Vili is associated with Ymir, who was created from drops of water that formed when ice from one realm, mixed with the heat from the other realm. So they picked them all to be very significant to this planet, and they're going to let people vote all the way up until May 10th, and whichever name gets the most votes, they're going to submit that one and hope that it gets approved.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
So let's just say on possible candidate 3 here on Vili, that it gets named, they go through all this hogwash, and then we make it there someday. And let's just say one of our UV people or something, there's an alien there. And let's just say his name's Frank. And they talk to Frank. Frank somehow speaks perfect English. Right. And, he's kind of laid back. He eats a lot of smuggled in Martian mushrooms. But, they ask him, like, how does it feel to be a Valanian or whatever? And he'll be like, the planet's named Ted.
He's a Teddian.
I'm a Teddy. And, I don't appreciate it. I mean, don't you think this is going to start a war at some point because we've named something and people have a name already?
Depends how many friends he has.
Well, imagine a UFO landing right now. White House lawn, right? That's where it has to land. It's where they always say it lands. Of course. So it lands and they get out and he goes, "Hello, people of Moose."
Moosians.
Yeah, they're going to be, you got the wrong planet, dude. Be like, no, you're people from Moose. This is the planet Moose.
That's funny.
But you're like, no, it's not. I mean,
Didn't you get our message that we sent out with the things on it?
Yeah. I mean, people never think about that in sci-fi movies.
Right.
People of Earth. No, how do you know that?
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Anyway.
Well, anyway, you can go and vote if you want to. I'll have a link to the website. It's 2007or10.name. That's the website. You can go and vote on your favorite name.
Yeah. It took them 13 years to come up with the website. And then
you're going to feel like you're part of history.
Feel that way.
Ish.
Yes.
All right, last story.
Okay.
This is about a 4th sighting of the Loch Ness Monster.
Oh.
And surprisingly enough, this 4th sighting is made by the same Irishman who spotted him a month ago. So 2 sightings in the same month.
Have we checked that Irishman's BAC?
Well, what he does is he watches a Loch Ness webcam. He's a Loch Ness webcam watcher.
He's unemployed.
Yeah. And his name's Ian O. Foudhagen.
It's what?
Ian. Oh, he's Irish. So
right. I know. I got you.
Foudhagen.
Like, I thought you said Van Halen.
No, Foudhagen.
Foudhagen. It sounds like you're saying Van Halen in German. I'd like to see it found Hagen, please.
He now has the 4th record that was accepted by the official Loch Ness Monster sightings register. And this is his 2nd sighting in a month. And this time, like the first time, he just caught a quick picture of it. This time, he supposedly got a picture and like a 30-second video that you can watch. So I watched the video, which is him taking a video of a webcam video, and you can see something splashing down in the loch. It's blurry, and you can tell there's something,
right?
But there isn't anything Nessie shaped, so to speak. Like you don't see a big head come up. There's not humps or anything like that. There is something down there. Something's going on, but it was accepted by the official Loch Ness Monster Sightings Register, so it must be official.
So what do you think the how high do you think that bar is? To have something accepted that you actually seen the Loch Ness Monster.
I am not sure. I feel like if you just see something, splashing around in the loch.
I'm not sure they're very strenuous. I mean, think so. Considering we've never seen the Loch Ness Monster.
No, that's true. So, I don't know. It lasted for quite some time.
Yeah, I don't think it's like the name people,
No, I don't think so.
They don't deliberate on it for 12 years.
You can say official and
there's a lot of official things.
So.
We're the official this, official that. It's just that's cool.
I'm glad he has a hobby.
I am too. There's a lot of Loch Ness Monster sightings this year.
And it said that the first one this year was like January 24th, and that's the earliest that Loch Ness has been sighted in like 18 years. Like normally it's not that early in the year. And there were a lot of sightings last year, and we've already got 4 this year. It's only April. Yeah. So you never know. I mean, you don't know what's in that lake.
No, you don't.
It could be. And I'm pretty sure he believes what he's seeing. So
it's deep.
There you are.
Connects to the ocean. Mm-hmm. You never know.
You never know. That was my last story, but I would like to point out, I might put this story in the newsletter, but it's about one you sent me about a shark whose head was bitten off by some bigger creature.
Yes.
Off of the coast of Australia.
Yes. So like,
not just Australia is dangerous, the waters around Australia are horribly dangerous. What bites the head off a humongous shark and just leaves it sitting?
Yeah, no, that was freaky.
Isn't that crazy?
It was. So another thing that's crazy is not really news, but we're currently binging Game of Thrones again.
We are.
For Ariana, but of course we're having to edit it. But
we are. Lots of fast forwarding.
Yeah. So it's crazy. We're going through all that because of the new season, and it's fun. I just thought I'd throw that out there. It's something fun you guys could do. You should watch Game of Thrones again. But anyway. All right, well, that's it for the news, and wow, there was a lot of stuff to catch up on there. A lot of space stuff. Shame on you, NASA, that kind of stuff, as always. As we talked about earlier, thank you again, Amber. I would like to throw that out there for being a patron. ParanormalSideshow.com. That's your address to go to find everything you need to find. Stacey has all kinds of stuff on there, including her newsletter, her pretentious newsletter. Facebook.com/Paranormal Sideshow. Sideshow97 on the Twitter. It's John and Stacey Edwards on Instagram. Hot damn. YouTube.com/Paranormal Sideshow on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify. The book is called Till Death and Beyond, The Haunted Journey of John and Stacey Edwards. You can find it on Amazon or just get it on our website. And of course, it's patreon.com/Paranormal Sideshow for my lovely wife, Stacey. My name's John. So long from the Sideshow.
Good night.
Hey guys, if you like what you've heard, please check out ParanormalSideshow.com and follow the links for our weekly podcast. Also, become a sideshow off yourself and pick one of our killer levels on our Patreon to help support the channel and help keep us bringing you bigger and better content. So until next week, for my lovely wife Stacey, I'm John Edwards. So long and
stay strange.